Hi everyone, welcome back to Salesforce Velocity course. So we have been talking about integration procedure actions that are available in our OmniStudio. So in this particular session, we are going to talk about HTTP action. So I've created an integration procedure here, right? I have not done anything yet. I've just created the integration procedure. So I'm going to drag and drop the HTTP action over here. Okay, and for this particular session, I'm going to use this particular website because this is one of the unauthenticated ones. So we wouldn't be needing a key, right? So that is why I'm going to use this one. You can also use it for practicing. So this particular website, this has around 100 products, and these are the calls that can be made. Okay, so you can do get call, post, put, delete, and all these things can be done using this. Okay, so once you are on this website, you don't need to sign up and generate a key and all of that. You can directly hit this particular website. All right, so once you're on this, if you navigate down to the page and if you click on docs, so here you can see all these options available over here, right? So if you click on get all products, then this is the link that you're supposed to hit from your integration procedure, right? In order to get all the products and its details. All right, so if I click on show output, so you can see so it has total number of 100 products, but they have a limit of 30 items. So in one call, they are only going to show you 30 items, 30 products. All right. And then similarly, we can also get only a single product, and we can also search a product. We can query categories, and then we can also fetch add a product and update a product or delete a product. All right, so these are the things that can be done. Let's just go ahead and get started with a very simple one, right? Getting all the products. So first of all, let me just copy this. All right, so this is your URL path. Okay, so I'll just copy this. I'll go back to the integration procedure. So before I do anything, let's just talk a little bit about the elements available here, right? The fields. So the first one is, of course, the element name, right? Whatever the name you'll be giving to this particular HTTP action. And then we have HTTP path where you are going to mention the URL. Okay. And then we have something called HTTP method where you are going to define whether it has to be a get method, post method, put method, right? Based on what you're trying to do. That is what you're going to define under HTTP method. Okay. And if there are any named credentials, then that can be mentioned as well, right? And then under REST options, if you have if you want to pass some headers, then you can keep on clicking here and you can configure the key and values for the header. All right, and similarly it goes for the parameters as well, right? So if you have to, for example, let's say with this URL, if you have to pass some parameters, so that can be configured over here, right? And then there are few other options available here. Let's say if you want to compress your request and then send it out, then that can be done as well, right? So we'll go through all of this, but let's just get started with the simple get call, and let's see what happens. Okay, so let's just first preview what happens when we only give the URL. Okay, so let's just click on preview, and let me just click on execute. So it says method cannot be null, right? That means you need to provide what kind of call it is, right? Get method, and I'll come here and I'll click on execute again. And it says unauthorized endpoint because you need to authorize this endpoint from Salesforce end as well, right? So you need to navigate to remote site settings, and you are supposed to authenticate this, right? So in remote site settings, under remote site URL, just add this, and here maybe just add this. Okay, like give it a name, like whatever name you want to give, and then provide the URL, and then make sure that it is active, and then click on save. I'll go back to the integration procedure and click on execute. And I'm getting the response, but here in the response action, I have not passed anything, right? So let's just go ahead and do that as well. So I'm going to include a response action so that I can see the response. And in response action, I'm going to copy the HTTP action element name, and I'll just provide in the JSON path. Either you can provide it here or you can add it as additional output response. All right, now let's just go ahead and preview this. So now let me copy all of this and go to JSON blob. And here, so you can see that it is returning us 30 products, although it has 100, but this is the limit, right? As I told you earlier. So if we click on any of these nodes, you can see that along with the basic details of the products, it is giving us all these details as well, description, title, price, product ID, discount percentage, and all these details are coming along with the products. Okay, so this is a normal get call. Okay, so if we go back, all we did was to include an HTTP action here, and in HTTP action we defined the URL that we wanted to hit, we defined the method. All right, and then we also authenticated this by adding it to the remote site setting in Salesforce. All right, that is all we did here. So that was a normal get call. Okay, now let's just go ahead and hold on. Let's just go ahead and try to fetch a single product. Okay, so if I go back here, so these are the things that we will try, and some of these, right, not everything, but some of these we will try and achieve. So now let's just try to fetch a single product. Okay, so for single product, let me click on this, and so this is the URL for a single product. Okay, so here I'm just, so the last, this particular thing that you're seeing here, right, I think this is, they're passing the product ID. So let's just see, and let's just go ahead and preview and see that, if we are getting the products only with product ID 1. So here it is, right? So basically I think whatever product ID you pass from here, let's say if I pass it as 2, so I got the result for the product which has the ID as 2, right? And also let's say if you have like all these values, if you are getting it from some other JSON or some other in between operation over here, then you can use make use of that merge syntax and then pass the key over here, right? So you can do that as well. All right, so this is about a single product. Now let's just go ahead and try something else that they have here. So for example, this one, right, search products. I think it was available here as well. This one, right? So let me copy this. Okay, and go back here. So before that, I wanted to show you that what are the categories that they have. Okay, so that you'll understand that one, what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so get products by category. So I'll just go ahead and try to fetch all the categories that they have. Uh, just click on categories and product categories. Okay, so here, copy this. So all the 100 products that they have in this website, right? All of the products belong to either of these categories, right? Either they are smartphones, laptops, tops, furniture, so these are the categories of the products that they have, right? So now let's just go back to the search and we'll try to search for a specific maybe product type. Okay, so here, and I'll just copy that, this one. So we'll click here, go back to the properties. Okay, so this should only return me the products where the category is phone, right? Like basically all the products which are phones, that is what it should be returning me. And you can see the parameter that they are using is Q, and then Q is equals to phone, right? So this is the category type that they are passing. So if I click on here and let's just copy this, go to JSON blob. So you can see they returned 4 products, right? So all these should be phone, right? So this is also a phone. All right, and the others, what they have should also be a phone. Okay, so all of this is phone. All right, so basically all these 4 products are categorized under product category as phone, right? So that is what it is returning back to us. Now let's say if I want to so what we did here is we directly passed the parameter here, right? But we can also pass the parameter using the rest options available here, right? So in params, let's say this particular part, right? So Q is equals to phone, right? If I just type it here and I can remove it from here. Okay, so now let's just go and see if it works the same. So basically it should return the same results, right? Or let me try with the another, let's say the categories were laptop as well, right? So laptop. So here, if I execute, so these are the laptop, right, that it returned, right? So if I copy this, go back here, so you can see there are 3 laptops that they have under the products, right? So it returned me all the, you can see, right, category, and then this one as well, right, laptops. So this is what it returned me back based on the parameter that we passed in the search, right? And then also, let's say, like, this value is coming from, as I said, right, that it's, if it's coming from somewhere else, then you can, like, from some other JSON, right, just before this one, then you can use that merge syntax and you can pass the value over here, right? So at the end of this session, we are going to create an OmniScript, and in that OmniScript, we will enter a value and we will try to fetch that value. We will pass that value from OmniScript to this integration procedure, and then we will try to append that in the search. Okay, so that will say at the last, because right now I just want to, like, cover all the methods that they have over here, right? But for you, like, for your information, if you want to pass a dynamic value, you can use the merge syntax and you can provide the value. All right. And all right. Or you know what, you can also provide that value directly over here, right? So let's say if you have any search keyword, right? So you can, now let's say this keyword is coming from somewhere else, right, to your integration procedure. So you can directly use the merge syntax over here as well, right? So that will also work. All right. And once you have these things, right, you can also kind of, like, so let me do one more thing. So let's just say, um, I wanted to show you, like, where in the debug it, and let's say if I try to pass the value from here, I think it's fine. I don't have to define it again. Yeah, it won't return, right? Because I've already added the parameter over here. So let me remove the parameter from here. Preview. But it won't form the URL, right? So for example, what I'm trying to say, so if I go and check here, not this one. So look at this, right? So this is the endpoint, right? So by passing the value from here, this is like an additional thing that is going out, right? But it will not help to append that p is equals to whatever the search keyword, right? If you actually compare it with what it has here, right? This endpoint, right? When we pass the value from here, we could not, like, this, the endpoint that it is forming is not exactly what it is expecting, right? So basically, whatever you're doing, just from the debug, you'll be able to see the endpoint, what is getting formed, right? So that if you're making any kind of mistakes, you'll know. So similarly, if I go back here, right? And let's say if I do that from here, so let's say laptop, right? And execute. What happened? Let's see what URL it is forming, okay? And we'll get to know. So HTTP action for debug. Search P is equals to laptop. I think it is laptops rather than laptop. If not, we'll try with another keyword, right? Yeah, no. So I'll pass it as phone itself. So depending on, like, what they have available, it's gonna work. Okay. So let me check the debug again. Search P, it is exactly what we have over there. Mm. Oh, it's Q, right? I'm passing as P. All right, I can go back to the laptop, whatever I was typing, right? So if I click on preview, I get the response back, right? And if you see the URL over here, it is what, like, it is expecting here. All right. And then let me try what we were doing earlier, right? So Q is equals to laptop. If I pass it from here, it won't work, right? Because of what I explained you earlier. So no matter what I pass from here, because the URL that it would be generating is not what is expected, right? So if I again go back here, so you can see this, right? It will not append this extra input parameter, right? You have to pass the input parameter, the rest parameter from here, all right? Either from here, or you can also directly pass it from here as well, okay? So this was for, like, getting a single product. getting like searching a product. All right. So now let's just go ahead, and we already saw categories. Now we can go ahead and try to add a product. Okay. So for adding a product, these are the information that they have given, right? So first of all, you should know that adding a new product will not add it into the server. Basically, whatever product you add from here, it is not going to change anything on their website, right? I mean, they are still going to show 100 products, but it will create a product in the backend, and it will give you that information right after you hit this particular URL. Okay. So let's just first go ahead and configure this. So add, I'll go back, and here I'll mention this, and in add, the method should be post, right? So I'll go here, method is post, and then there are some extra information that they would expect, right? So we need to pass content type in the header. So we'll go ahead and under rest options, we'll add the header. Content type should be this. Okay, so content type is header. What else do they have? That's it, right? So method and headers and the URL, right? So these three things we have mentioned. Now this part is body, right? So basically here, from here, you can know that for adding a product, what are they expecting? They are only expecting you just to pass the title. Once you pass the title, they are going to create that product. Okay. Now this will be part of the body, right? So this can either be we can actually directly define it over here, right? But the key should be same key as in title, right? So I'll just type in title. Okay, and let me give a product name. Okay, so let's say anything, right? I can give any product name. Let's say if I just give it as ABC. So let me first see what response, what would be the output. So this is the kind of output that we should also be expecting, right? So they have 100 products. So the when I hit this particular request, right, then I should be giving a product back where the title should be ABC and the ID should be 101, right? Because they already have 100 products, right? So this is the kind of output that we should be expecting here. So let's just go ahead and try this here, right? So it added a product, but as they have said, it's not going to make any change to their server, right? So I mean, this is just for us to practice. All right, so this was about adding the product. So all you have to do is, because when you do these kind of things in your project, right, I mean, this will not be as simple as this, right? There would be a lot of other information that you would have to pass, right? And there will be a lot of other could be other parameters that you would have to configure, right? So these are just the basic example that how you can get it done. So you just need to make sure that you are hitting the right, you have mentioned the right HTTP path, and you have mentioned the correct post method, and then you have configured all your headers or parameters correctly. All right. And if there are any name credentials, then you have also mentioned that as well. All right. So this is how you can add a product. All right. And then now let's just go ahead and try updating a product. Okay. So here, all right. So here, this is their URL. That means you need to pass the product ID. Okay. This is how they have configured. Okay. So for I mean, they have configured the URL as this, right? So you have to pass the product ID. And then in the method, you need to define put. In the headers, you need to still mention content type. And in the body, you have to pass whatever you want to update, is what I'm assuming. Okay. So for example, show output, right? So in the output, whatever they have, right? Basically, it will give you the product details back with the updates that you have made, right? So for example, look at this. They have provided a title. So basically, I think this particular product existed as iPhone Galaxy, but they appended this +1 over here, right? And in the result, they are showing, see, only title was updated. So they had only updated the title, but they got the result back by with the updated title, right? So we are just going to configure this. So let's just take the URL first, go back here, and so this is the URL, and the method would be put method, right? Because we are going to update. So put method. And then in the rest options, they are, I think this was the only thing, right? Content type as application JSON, which we already have. All right. Now the next thing is that we just need to pass what field we want to update. Okay, so let's just just do one thing. Let's just first get a product, see everything like what it has, and then we'll try to, or we can just check it from JSON blob. Okay, so for example, or no, let me, so that you don't get confused. So I'm just going to first get this product, okay, to show you that what and all we have. Okay, and in rest option, let me remove this for now. So preview. So these are the details for product with product ID 1, right? So and so let's just try to update the title first. Okay, so again I'll go back to the properties, and then same thing, right? I mean, we already have that URL, and this would be put, right? Put method, and then content type would be this, right? All right, now let's just go ahead and, so let's just first try to update the title. Okay, so title, you just need to use the same key names. Okay, so title, and this one, let me, and we'll just add something here, updated, right? So if I click on execute here, right? So see, the title got updated. And then you can add on extra stuff. Let's say I want to update the price, right? So price, and then I'll just mention it as, right? So the price got updated. Similarly, you can add update anything that you want. Description, updated description, okay? And you can see this got updated, right? So this is how you can configure all these different methods, right? Based on what you want to do. If you're doing a get call, post call, put call, delete call, so that way you can configure based on, so so when you are working on a project, right, and you have to make such calls to external systems, so you get these informations, right, that okay, what should be these information, what you should be passing. So those things you will already have when you're going to configure these kind of stuff. All right, the only thing is for you would be that you would have to figure out that okay, you have to configure everything correctly. All right, so now let's just go ahead and see that let's say if I want to pass a value from the OmniScript to the integration procedure, okay? And so what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and create an OmniScript. And in that OmniScript, we are going to pass a category name, okay? Let's say phone. And then we are going to use that here, and then we'll try to get the result back. Okay, so I'm not going to display the result back on the OmniScript, but I'm just going to pass the value from the OmniScript, and I'll show you the result here itself. All right, so let's just go ahead and do that. So OmniScript, I can use any of the existing ones. Let me create a new one. Test HTTP. Okay, and let me provide something here. It should open that in few seconds. What happened? Yeah, this got created, right? So let me open this. And here I will include a text, okay, in one of these steps. So, all right. So, what happened? Text will, all right, here. Let's just give the element name. So this will be the identifier, right? So you need to make sure that Whatever you are entering, you should know it. Okay. So let's say uh, product category, product, product category. Okay. And that's it. I mean, I'm not going to like, configure the whole thing. Like there's no need, right? We just want to make sure that we are going to pass a value from here, right? And after this, I need to call this integration procedure, right? What we have created here. So this is the integration procedure name, test and subtest, right? So here, let's just integration procedure here, okay? And here in the name, test, subtest, this is the integration procedure, okay? So in this integration procedure, I have to pass this particular value, right? Whatever the user would be entering onto this text, right? They might enter phone, laptop, whatever they want to enter, they can enter here. But then this value, I want to pass it to the integration procedure. So I will copy the element name, right? The unique identifier. And then I'll go to this integration procedure, and here in under remote properties, in extra payload, right? Because I just want to send the keyword, right? The whatever user enters here, that is the only thing that I want to send to the integration procedure. I don't want to send the whole JSON structure, right? So that is why I'm going to mention in the extra payload. So the value is, I know that from step one, right? So what is that value? That value is this, right? The element name of this particular step, right? And then here you can give any name that you want, right? So I'm just going to give it as search keyword. Okay. So basically this search keyword should have the product category value, whatever the value user provides here. Okay. Let's just like, preview this and check this out if we are getting the value or not. So let's say if I provide here as phone, click on next. We need to activate this actually, but before activating it, I can still see this, right? So see, product category is phone, correct? So this is what user entered into that search box, and we are getting the product category. So we are good. So, and this specifically is asking that you need to activate the integration procedure before it, like, you can make it work. All right. So let's just go back to the design, and we have to copy that keyword, right? What was that keyword? That extra payload, right? This is where we will have the value. This is holding the value of this, right? So we'll just copy this. We'll go back to the integration procedure. And in the HTTP action, I want to use this one, okay? So let's just use this one, okay? So this, and then here, this is their parameter, right? As per them. Now here you need to pass the value. So the value would be simply this, right? So we'll just copy this, go here. So either we can directly pass it here, okay? And then this should be get call, right? Get call. And from here, let's just remove this for now. All right, so this keyword is coming from OmniScript, right? And then let's just activate this preview. Okay, so let me remove all of it, and I'm going to this OmniScript, and all right. Let me pass a value as laptop, right? Laptop, and I'll click on next, and it will call the integration procedure, and integration procedure will process HTTP action. Okay, so I'll click on next. I clicked on next. Now I can click on action debugger and see the response. So if I click here, and the request data was this, search keyword went as laptop. In the response, we should be getting the results back wherever, like, for the, so see, we got 3 results back for laptop. Okay. So if I copy this and go to JSON blob, result is this, right? So 3 products with laptop, right? Laptop, the other 2 should be laptop as well, right? So similarly, if I go back to my OmniScript, okay, clear logs, sorry, and let me type something else, right, apart from laptop. So here, let's say if I type phone, right, and click on next. So in the action debugger, in the response, you can see 4, right? So there are 4 limits. So that means with phone as the keyword, it gave us 4 responses back, right? So now, and then this is how you can do it, right? And then once you have the response back, and if you want to display that data, right, you can just go back to the design. You can add another screen here, right? Another step, and then you can, take the response from this integration procedure and you can map and display those results as well, right? So that is how you will be, able to connect your UI with your, results that you're getting from integration procedure. So I think that's it. That's about it. I know that these are not very complex scenarios, but it does give you the very basic idea of how you can configure the basic things, how you can configure the URL, and you need to add it to your remote site settings. You need to mention the methods, how you can pass the parameters, and this parameter, right, it can also be sent as an additional input output. So you could have mentioned this keyword in this one as well, right, adding an additional input from here, right? So these are the basic ways that I am sure that you would have actually understood from this particular session. And once we finish all the actions of integration procedure, we'll definitely do some projects where we'll have more complex scenarios and we would have to configure much more complex stuff rather than just doing a simple call. But I believe that this is good for for you to practice and get started with it. All right, so you can use this dummy JSON and you can practice all these basic stuff and see if it works for you or not. So once you are here, just that scroll down, click on docs, you'll reach to this page, and then basically you can click on this and you can keep on clicking show output, so that you'll know that whatever output you're getting, you should be getting the same output there as well. The only thing that you have to keep in mind that when you're configuring your integration procedure HTTP action, right, then the everything that you configure should be as per this, right, whatever they have given here. So for example, we saw, right, in this particular example, that this is their parameter. So this is how this exactly this is something that you have to pass from here, right? I when I was using some other letter, right, I mean that I used it by mistake, but you're not supposed to use anything else, right? But because this is how they have configured it, right? So your your configuration should be matching the the requirement that they have over here. All right. So I think that's it about HTTP action of integration procedures, and I'll see you in the next session. Thank you for watching.